In the year 2492, far beyond the busy trade routes and bustling planets, lies Zalen V. This distant world was once just a chunk of rock spinning through space, but now, thanks to human ingenuity, it thrives. Zalen V is a mining colony where workers dig up a rare and valuable mineral called xenoxium. This mineral is key to powering spaceships that travel across galaxies. The planet is a vital part of the Galactic Human Alliance, a group of planets united under one flag. However, its location near the border of the Thrx Empire makes it a place of tension. The Thrx are not friends to humans. They prefer to keep to themselves and distrust any outsiders. On this remote planet, Captain Aria Flynn stands out. She's 34 years old and leads a specialized team known for daring rescues. Aria has short, black hair that barely touches her shoulders and eyes that spark with determination. She wears a uniform with the insignia of the Galactic Human Alliance proudly displayed. Aria's job is to jump into dangerous situations and pull people out safe and sound. She's really good at it, not just because she's brave, but because she really cares about people. Her drive to protect others comes from a deep place. A few years ago, Aria lost her younger brother in a tragic accident during a peace mission. It was a day that changed her life. She promised herself that she would do whatever it took to prevent such losses in the future. Today, Aria faces a new challenge that might be her toughest yet. Word has come through the space channels that the Thrx have captured someone very important, the queen of a newly discovered alien species called the Malarians. This queen isn't just any royal. She has a unique ability to make xenoxium right in her body. That makes her incredibly important, both to her people and to anyone who wants to control the supply of xenoxium. As she stands in her office, looking out at the rugged landscape of Zalen V, Aria knows what she must do. She must put together a team, make a plan, and save the queen. The journey will be full of danger, and many would call it foolish to even try. But Aria isn't afraid of being called foolish. She's only afraid of what will happen if she doesn't try. As the twin suns of Zalen V set, casting long shadows over the land, Aria turns from the window. It's time to get to work. She starts by making a list of names, the best of the best who will stand with her on this mission. Little does she know, this mission will take her not only into the heart of enemy territory, but also into new depths of her own courage. The stakes are high, and the risks are great, but for Captain Aria Flynn, this is just another day on the fringe of the galaxy. An extraordinary prisoner paced back and forth deep with the cold steel walls of a Thrx Empire stronghold. This was no ordinary captive. She was the queen of the Malarians, a newly discovered alien species with a rare and powerful ability. Her name was Queen Seraphine, and she could naturally produce xenoxium within her body, a gift that made her invaluable and now a target. Queen Seraphine was tall and graceful, with shimmering blue skin that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light of her cell. Her eyes, wide and clear, reflected a mind that was sharp and full of resolve. Despite her regal bearing, there was a sadness in her gaze, a weariness from the burden of her capture. The Thrx had taken her from her home planet under the guise of a diplomatic mission, only to betray her and hold her hostage. They hoped to use her unique ability to control the xenoxium supply. Overseeing her capture was General Kraz Thul, a high-ranking officer in the Thrx military. He was a towering figure, known for his strategic mind and unwavering loyalty to the Thrx Empire. His skin was a deep green, and his eyes were like two black stones, cold and hard. Kraz believed in the purity of the Thrx and viewed all other species as inferior. In his office, decorated with medals and symbols of his many victories, Kraz stood gazing at a holographic map of the galaxy. His mission was clear: maintain the isolation of the Thrx and expand their influence by any means necessary. The capture of Queen Seraphine was a major win for him, a step closer to achieving his goals. But Kraz was not without his doubts. Reports of unrest and sympathy for the Malarians among his own people troubled him. He knew that not all Thrx shared his views on isolation and purity. Some even secretly opposed his actions. Yet he pushed these thoughts aside, focusing on the strength and security of his empire. Back on Zalen V, word of Queen Seraphine's plight spread quickly. Captain Area Flynn received detailed intelligence reports outlining the situation. The stakes were higher than ever. If the Thrx managed to harness the Queen's abilities, they could potentially monopolize xenoxium production, leading to an economic and strategic crisis for the Galactic Human Alliance. The Queen's own people, the Malarians, were desperate. They sent secret pleas across the galaxy, hoping someone would dare to defy the Thrx and rescue their beloved leader. Their messages were intercepted, their cries for help echoing in the vastness of space, reaching the ears of those who might just be brave enough to respond. Area knew what she had to do. As she assembled her team, she made sure each member understood the gravity of their mission. Not only were they to save a queen, but they were also potentially preventing a war and preserving the balance of power in the galaxy. Area finalizes her team roster, each name a promise of the fierce battle to come. They were not just fighting for the Queen or for the Alliance. They were fighting for the very essence of diversity and unity in the galaxy. As the night deepened on Zalen V, plans were drawn, and a daring mission began to take shape. Captain Area Flynn knew that a mission as dangerous and crucial as this required not just skill, but the right mix of talents and personalities. She spent the night in her office, poring over files and service records, choosing her team with care. Each member needed to be more than just capable. They needed to be adaptable, brave, and committed to the cause. First, she chose Lieutenant Mara Jade, a former diplomat who had worked on interspecies negotiations. Mara was calm, thoughtful, and had a deep understanding of alien cultures, which would be vital in dealing with the Malarians and any other allies they might find. Her ability to communicate and build trust was unparalleled. Next, Area picked Sergeant Rex Banner, known among the troops for his strategic thinking and expertise in combat. Rex had led numerous ground operations and was unfazed by the prospect of going head-to-head with the Thrx forces. His robust frame and stern face hid a sharp mind and a gentle heart. For stealth operations, she selected Zoe Castill, a specialist renowned for her ability to move unseen and unheard. Zoe had infiltrated some of the most secure facilities in the galaxy. Her slight figure and quiet demeanor belied her daring nature and quick thinking. Finally, Area added Dr. Simon Teller to the team, a scientist with a specialty in xenobiology, the study of alien life forms. Simon's knowledge would be crucial in ensuring the well-being of Queen Seraphine during the rescue. His gentle approach to his work and his passion for preserving life made him the perfect fit for this mission. With her team assembled, Captain Flynn called for a meeting in the strategy room. The walls of the room were lined with screens showing maps of Thrx territory and schematics of the facility where the Queen was being held. "Listen up," Area began, her voice firm yet inspiring. "We're not just going into enemy territory. We're going to the heart of the Thrx Empire to pull out one of the most important figures in the galaxy. This mission is about more than just rescue. It's about making a stand." She walked them through the plan step by step. They would use a small stealth ship to avoid detection and enter Thrx space. Mara would handle any negotiations needed to get them close to the Queen. Rex and Zoe would lead the infiltration of the detention center, with Zoe disabling security systems while Rex provided cover. Simon would be responsible for the Queen's immediate medical needs and ensuring her safe extraction. The team spent the following days in intense preparation. They drilled the mission plan, practiced in the simulator, and checked and rechecked their equipment. Area watched them closely, knowing that the success of the mission rested on their shoulders. As the launch day approached, the weight of what they were about to do settled on each of them. They were risking their lives, but more importantly, they were carrying the hopes of the Malarians and perhaps the future of peace in the galaxy. In a quiet moment before departure, Area pulled each team member aside. "Look, I know this is going to be one of the toughest things we've ever done. But I chose each of you because I know you're the best at what you do, and more importantly, because I trust you. We're going to bring the Queen home, not just for her people, but for all of us. Let's show the galaxy what happens when foolish humans dare to do the right thing." With a final check of their gear, Captain Flynn and her team boarded their ship. The engines hummed to life, and as they lifted off from Zalen V, a determined silence filled the ship. Each member focused on the part they had to play. The stars stretched out before them, not just as points of light, but as beacons of hope. The stealth ship, a sleek vessel designed to avoid detection, hummed quietly as it cut through the vast emptiness of space. Captain Aria Flynn and her team were aboard, each member lost in thought as the stars zoomed past the viewports. The mood was tense but focused. They all knew the stakes were high. As they neared the border of Thrx territory, Lieutenant Mara Jade took her position at the communication console, ready to handle any unexpected encounters. The Thrx were known for their strict patrol routines, and even with their advanced cloaking technology, getting through would require skill and a bit of luck. "Sensors are picking up a patrol squadron ahead," Zoe Castile whispered, her eyes not leaving her screen where blips indicated the approaching danger, adjusting course to avoid them. With precise movements, Zoe subtly altered their trajectory, guiding the ship into an asteroid field. The asteroids provided a natural cover, and the ship's systems were pushed to their limits to navigate through the dense field. "Keep it steady, everyone. We're not out of this yet," Aria said, her voice calm but authoritative. The ship weaved through the asteroids, the occasional scrape sounding a harsh reminder of the narrow margins they were working within. As they cleared the asteroid field, a signal beeped on Mara's console. It was a weak distress signal, originating from a small planet within Thrx space. Aria faced a tough decision. Investigating the signal could blow their cover, but leaving someone in distress went against everything she stood for. "We have to check it out," Aria decided firmly. Zoe set a course for the planet. Upon landing, they discovered a Thrx civilian vessel that had crashed. The crew was surprisingly composed of dissenters, Thrx who opposed their empire's aggressive policies. The captain, a rugged Thrx named Goran, explained they were fleeing the empire's oppression. "We need your help," Goran pleaded, his voice rough but sincere. "In return, we can offer you assistance. We know the layout of the detention center where your queen is held." Seeing an opportunity for a valuable alliance, Aria agreed to help repair their ship. Simon and Rex worked alongside the Thrx dissenters, quickly forming a bond over shared technical knowledge and stories of resistance. With the dissenters' vessel repaired and a new alliance formed, the team left the planet with enhanced plans for infiltrating the detention center. Goran provided them with security codes and a detailed map, increasing their chances of success significantly. As they approached the detention center located on a moon orbiting a gas giant, a magnetic storm erupted, causing chaotic energy fluctuations. "We'll have to go through it," Aria stated, knowing any delay could compromise the entire mission. Zoe navigated the ship through the storm, her skills tested to the limit as bolts of energy whipped around them, threatening to disable their systems. Through sheer skill and determination, they made it through, but the ship suffered minor damage. "Repairs needed, but it could have been worse," Zoe reported, checking over the systems. "We're still cloaked, but let's make this quick." With the detention center now in sight, the team prepared for the most dangerous part of their mission. Each member checked their equipment, their faces set with resolve. They were no longer just a rescue team. They were a symbol of hope and defiance against tyranny. As the chapter closes, the ship descends towards the detention center's landing bay, the tension palpable. The storm behind them was just a prelude to the storm they were about to walk into. The stealth ship, slightly battered but still undetectable, landed quietly in the shadowed part of the detention center's outer compound. The area was dimly lit, with only the occasional flicker of security lights piercing the darkness. Captain Aria Flynn and her team disembarked, moving with silent precision towards the high-security facility. Sergeant Rex Banner led the way, his eyes scanning for any sign of trouble. His hand rested near his weapon, ready to defend his team at a moment's notice. Beside him, Zoe Castile stayed close to the walls, her device in hand to jam any surveillance they might encounter. "Security is tighter than we anticipated," Zoe whispered, her device sending out pulses that temporarily disabled the nearby cameras. "But the codes are holding up." As they infiltrated deeper into the facility, Lieutenant Mara Jade's diplomatic training proved invaluable. They encountered a group of Thrx guards, and Mara stepped forward, speaking in fluent Thrx, explaining that they were a maintenance crew sent for unexpected repairs. Her calm demeanor and confident lies allowed them to move past the guards without raising an alarm. Just as they were nearing the high-security wing where Queen Seraphine was believed to be held, an alarm blared throughout the facility. The team froze, realizing that their cover had been blown. "It seems they've detected an anomaly in the security system," Zoe said, frustration evident in her voice. "We must move fast now." The facility erupted into chaos, with guards rushing to secure all major passages. Aria made a quick decision. "We split up," she commanded. "Rex, take Zoe and head to the Queen's cell. Mara, Simon, and I will draw their attention away and meet you at the extraction point." Rex and Zoe dashed down a corridor, narrowly avoiding a patrol of guards, while Aria, Mara, and Simon headed in the opposite direction, engaging with the guards to create a diversion. Amid the chaos, Aria and her team helped several Malarian prisoners they encountered along the way. These prisoners, grateful for the unexpected help, shared vital information about the facility's layout and the Queen's exact location. Simon, while tending to an injured Malarian, discovered that the alien's physiology was more complex than he had studied. He quickly adapted his medical kit to provide effective aid, earning further goodwill and more willing allies among the prisoners. Meanwhile, Rex and Zoe reached the Queen's cell. Using the codes Goran had provided, they managed to unlock the door. Inside, they found Queen Seraphine, who, despite her captivity, stood with an air of regal dignity. She was initially wary but recognized the insignia on Rex's uniform, the symbol of the Galactic Human Alliance, and realized they were there to rescue her. With the Queen in tow, Rex and Zoe raced back towards the planned rendezvous point. They communicated with Aria, who was still managing to keep the guards busy. "We have the Queen," Rex reported, "heading to the extraction point now." Aria, Mara, and Simon, hearing the good news, began their retreat, using non-lethal means to disable their pursuers. They regrouped with Rex and Zoe, and together with Queen Seraphine, they made a break for the stealth ship. As they neared the ship, the facility's outer defenses activated, sending blasts toward them. Zoe, reacting quickly, reactivated her jamming device, buying them just enough time to board the ship and seal the hatch. With everyone aboard, the ship lifted off, leaving the chaos of the detention center behind. As they set course back to Zalen V, Aria took a moment to look at each member of her team, pride and relief evident in her eyes. They had gone into the heart of enemy territory and had come out alive, with the Queen safe among them. The chapter closes as the ship speeds away from the Thrx moon, the stars ahead bright and clear. The mission was far from over, but for now, they had achieved the impossible. As the stealth ship raced away from the Thrx moon, Captain Aria Flynn and her team took a moment to catch their breath. Queen Seraphine, now safely aboard, expressed her deep gratitude to her rescuers. Her presence brought a new sense of urgency and determination to the crew. They were not just fighting for abstract ideals, but were directly safeguarding a life that could change the fate of the galaxy. However, their success was short-lived. The ship's sensors soon detected incoming Thrx warships, rapidly closing in. General Kraz Thol, having been alerted to the escape, was personally leading the pursuit. His flagship, a massive dreadnought, was notorious throughout the galaxy for its formidable firepower. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers," Aria ordered, her voice calm but firm. "Zoe, keep us cloaked as long as you can. Rex, assist her with the defenses. Mara, Simon, make sure the Queen is secure." The team sprang into action, each member focused on their tasks as the ship zigzagged through space, dodging the blasts from the pursuing warships. Zoe's expertise at the helm kept them just a step ahead of disaster, while Rex managed the ship's limited defensive systems, countering the relentless attacks. Amid the chaos, a secure communication channel opened from General Thol's ship. His face appeared on the main screen, his expression one of cold fury mixed with a grudging respect. "Captain Flynn, you have made a grave mistake interfering with the affairs of the Thrx Empire." Thol's voice boomed through the ship. "Surrender now, and I may yet spare your lives." Aria stepped forward, facing the screen with unwavering resolve. General Foe, we have liberated an innocent being held against her will. We acted in the defense of freedom and justice. I will not surrender my crew or myself to tyranny. There was a pause as Thol considered her words. His next response was less aggressive, more curious. You risk much for one alien queen, Captain. Why defy an empire for her? Because, Arya replied, sometimes one life can make all the difference. And because it's the right thing to do. Thol's eyes narrowed, but it was clear that Arya's words had struck a chord. The communication ended abruptly, and the chase resumed. Realizing they couldn't outrun the Thrx forever, Arya devised a risky plan. They would head towards a nearby nebula, where the dense gas and dust could disrupt the Thrx sensors. As they neared the nebula, the ship's systems strained under the pressure. Zoe navigated the treacherous terrain with precision, while Rex coordinated with Mara and Simon to prepare a series of traps to deploy against their pursuers. Just as they entered the nebula, Rex launched the traps, which exploded in a dazzling display of light and energy, causing confusion and disarray among the Thrx fleet. Utilizing this moment, Zoe steered them deeper into the nebula, where they finally lost the Thrx ships in the dense, swirling gases. Safe for the moment, the crew took a deep breath, realizing they had just narrowly escaped one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Later, as they set a course back to Galactic Human Alliance space, Arya met with Queen Seraphine to discuss the next steps. The Queen, moved by the bravery of the humans, offered her people's alliance with the Galactic Human Alliance, promising to aid them in their ongoing struggles against forces like the Thrx. The chapter closes with the crew gathered around the viewing window, watching the colors of the nebula swirl outside. They were tired, scared, but triumphant. They had faced the heart of an empire and emerged not just survivors, but as heroes who had changed the course of history with their courage. Their journey back to Zalen V was not just a return trip. It was a victory lap for the foolish humans who dared to challenge the darkness with light. The crew of the stealth ship navigated the dense nebula with cautious optimism, the swirling gases masking their trail from the Thrx pursuers. Captain Arya Flynn kept a watchful eye on the sensors, ensuring they remained hidden within the nebula's protective embrace. The ship, though slightly damaged from the earlier skirmishes, held steady, a testament to the resilience and engineering prowess of the Galactic Human Alliance. Queen Seraphine, now more composed and regal than ever, stood beside Arya, gazing out at the colorful display outside the ship. Your bravery has not only saved me, but has inspired a new hope among my people, she said, her voice filled with gratitude and awe. Arya smiled slightly, her eyes still on the path ahead. We're not through yet, Your Majesty. We still need to get you back safely to Alliance space. As they traveled, Simon Teller and Rex Banner worked together to repair the ship's systems, patching up the damage and ensuring all defensive measures were operational. Zoe Castell and Lieutenant Mara Jade reviewed their escape routes, plotting a course that would keep them safe from any further encounters with the Thrx. In the quiet of the ship's lower deck, the crew gathered around a small table, sharing a meal. It was a rare moment of peace amidst the chaos, and they took the time to reflect on their journey. We've come a long way, haven't we? Mara mused, passing around a bowl of synthesized protein, not just in distance, but in what we've accomplished. Rex nodded, his usual stoic demeanor softened by the camaraderie. We've shown that even the mightiest empire can be challenged when you stand up for what's right. Zoe, who was usually quiet, added, and we've made some unexpected allies along the way. It's strange to think how much we can achieve when we work together, despite our differences. As they neared the edge of the nebula, Arya called a meeting to discuss their next steps. Once we're out of the nebula, we'll be in Alliance space, but our mission isn't over. We need to ensure Queen Seraphine's safety and leverage this alliance with her people. Simon, who had been attending to the Queen's health, reported, Her Majesty is in good condition, considering what she's been through. But the real work in building this alliance will happen on the ground, with negotiations and treaties. Queen Seraphine, present at the meeting, nodded in agreement. I am committed to supporting your alliance, she declared. My people will stand with you, not out of debt, but out of shared values and hopes for a peaceful future. Finally, the ship emerged from the nebula, the stars bright and clear against the darkness of space. The crew took their positions, preparing for the final leg of their journey back to Zalen V. As the ship sped forward, the mood was one of cautious optimism. Aria looked around at her crew, each of them different, each of them vital to the mission's success. "We've done something remarkable," she said. "We've changed the course of history, not with overwhelming force, but with courage, unity, and compassion." The chapter closes with the ship approaching Zalen V, the twin suns of the planet rising on the horizon like beacons of hope. As they prepared to land, the future seemed a little brighter, the galaxy a little less daunting. The foolish humans and their allies had not only rescued a queen, but had lit a fire of change that would spread across the stars. The journey back to Galactic Human Alliance space was quiet, but the atmosphere among the team was anything but subdued. Captain Aria Flynn sat in the cockpit of their ship, gazing out at the streaks of starlight as they sped through space. Beside her, the rescued alien Queen Melina watched with a mix of wonder and relief. "Thank you, Captain Flynn." Melina's voice broke the silence, her tone filled with deep gratitude. "You and your team have done more than just save my life. You have given my people hope." Aria smiled, turning to face her. "We did what was right, Your Majesty. I hope this will be the start of a new understanding between our peoples." The rest of the team was scattered throughout the ship, tending to their gear or resting. Despite the exhaustion that clung to them like a second skin, there was a shared sense of accomplishment. They had faced incredible odds and emerged victorious, not just saving a life, but potentially altering the course of relations between human and Thrx territories. As they entered the orbit of Zalen V, a committee was already waiting to greet them. News of their daring rescue had spread, and both human and Malarian dignitaries were there to welcome the Queen and her rescuers. The crowd was large, their cheers filling the air as the ship touched down. Flynn and her team escorted Melina down the ramp, where they were met with applause and a flurry of media. Cameras flashed, capturing the moment for history books. Among the dignitaries, Aria spotted a few Thrx officials, their expressions unreadable but their presence a clear sign of changing tides. In the days that followed, Aria attended debriefings and meetings, discussing the mission's implications and the potential for future cooperation. It was clear that her actions, once seen as reckless, were now being hailed as visionary. "I never thought I'd see a Thrx at a peace talk," she commented to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Harrow, as they observed the ongoing negotiations. "Nor did I, Captain," Harrow replied. "But perhaps that's the best part of new beginnings. They're full of surprises." The story concluded with a quiet moment between Aria and Melina, looking out over the colony from a high viewpoint. The Queen placed a hand on Aria's shoulder, a gesture of friendship and respect. "Your brother would have been proud of you today," Melina said softly, knowing the personal costs of Aria's journey. Aria nodded, her eyes misty. "Today, we all made him proud," she replied, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "And tomorrow, we'll keep working to make sure this peace lasts." The chapter and the story ended on this hopeful note, suggesting a future where empathy and courage could bridge even the widest of gulfs. After the dust settled on the daring rescue of the Malarian Queen, the Galactic Human Alliance hailed Captain Aria Flynn and her team as heroes. The successful mission not only secured a precious ally in the Malarians, but also proved that humanity could be a force for compassion and unity in a galaxy often divided by fear and mistrust. Back on Zalen V, life slowly returned to normal, or as normal as it could be on the edge of contested space. The mining operations resumed, with the Xenoxium flow stabilizing the economy of the human colonies spread across the Andromeda galaxy. But beyond the daily bustle and the machinery's hum, there was a palpable change in the air, a sense of possibility that extended beyond the mineral-rich caverns and the starlit skies. In the weeks that followed, Captain Flynn found herself involved in more than just tactical missions and rescue operations. She became part of diplomatic delegations, often accompanied by representatives from the Malarians, and even a few sympathetic Thrx, who had been moved by the humans' bravery and their queen's magnanimity. The once clear and rigid lines between the species began to blur, discussions replacing disputes, and shared goals overshadowing old grievances. General Kraz Thul, ever the soldier for his empire, watched these developments with a wary eye. His defeat by Flynn had not broken him, but had ignited a spark of curiosity about the potential benefits of cooperation over isolation. While he remained a staunch protector of the Thrx purity, he found himself questioning whether purity at the cost of peace was a price too high. As for the Queen, once a captive, now a catalyst for change, she worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between her people and the galaxy's other inhabitants. The Malarians, with their unique abilities and gentle wisdom, became mediators in conflicts that had once seemed insurmountable. The Queen often spoke of Captain Flynn, her courage and her conviction that empathy could be more powerful than weapons. The Galactic Human Alliance, emboldened by the success of Flynn's mission, initiated the Outreach Protocol, a program designed to foster communication and aid between all species within the Andromeda Galaxy. It was an ambitious plan, one that required patience, understanding, and a great deal of diplomacy. But the seeds had been planted, and the future, once written in the stars as a tale of endless conflict, now promised a story of reconciliation. Captain Flynn, standing on the viewing deck of the Alliance headquarters, looked out over the stars. Each one held a story, a world, a potential friend or foe. With a soft sigh, she turned away from the view, her mind already racing with plans and possibilities. The future was unwritten, and that meant there was hope. It meant that the foolish, the brave, and the hopeful had a chance to write a new chapter, one not of war, but of peace. As the stars twinkled above, mirroring the twinkling in her eyes, the universe seemed to whisper, ready to turn the page on a new and hopeful saga.